But at the end of the day, dudes like boobs, dudes like guns, dudes like swift kicks to the nuts, and like if you just present them with a product that has those three things and maybe a flying eagle for America, your game's probably going to be pretty successful. Yes, we get distracted sometimes, as you would probably get distracted by this leaflets. I grew up gaming in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And that era of advertising was wild. If you go back and you look at it, my boy Cabrutus posted this over on X, and this is a Japanese commercial for of all things Devil May Cry. And I think this really, are you a Devil May Cry fan, or have you ever played it before?
I've never played one.
Okay, well, Dante is very cool. That's what you need to know. Dante's like
I know that.
Yeah, like an anime character brought into video games. That's kind of the whole idea behind Dante. We've got the cool hair over his eyes, and he's got the trench coat, and he's awesome. Anyways, this was an advertisement for Devil May Cry in Japan, and the simple question is, why can't we just go back to advertising like this? Oh, I'd like to point out, it took 5 seconds to get to gameplay after 3 scantily clad outfits. Sorry, I'm just going to replay this one more time.
That's amazing.
If you really break down this commercial, it tells you like literally everything that men like. Okay. You've got girls looking seductive at them, right? You got girls in underwear. Then you got a dude with a sword, right? Looking awesome. You got a guy shooting a gun. Pretty cool. You got a big old flaming kick to a guy's junk right here. It works in so many ways. Who literally flies off screen, I might add. Boof. Cool looking, stares at the camera, and then video games, man. And then, I mean, not everybody's into this, but did you notice the last shot of this is actually a guy with a camera like shooting up?
It's actually a witty commercial though, because it's talking about like how they're doing like the poses, and then he has the poses too. That's why it was going through like those shots where he had like his leg in the air.
Oh, do you understand Japanese?
Only a little bit.
What was it? What was it saying? What was it saying? I have no idea.
It was talking about the poses. That's basically the extent of my knowledge of it. But they were talking about like how, like they're like how like, the poses with like the girls, and then it showed him doing poses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, see, I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I understand the pose. By the way, his leg. No male can put their leg up that high. And I just like to point that out there. Blabs, you ever done this before? Kicked up and then had a flaming kick to a guy's junk?
I can't say that I have, but it could be on the bucket list one day.
Saying I'd pay money to see that.
Right? Hi-ya!
Yo. I think this is a very simple premise here of just knowing your audience and advertising to it. I just don't think we'd ever see a commercial like this today, at least in today's video games. It would be seen as problematic.
Yeah, I think a lot of game companies don't really know their audience anymore. I think it's actually one of the biggest problems right now in the industry is marketing and trying to like capture like an audience that doesn't even resonate with their game, and it's just tragic.
I feel like we see that a lot, not just in games, but across all of entertainment, where they're catering to this, this modern audience that, we talked about it many times, this modern audience that doesn't exist. And the argument a lot of people make is that they're trying to create the modern audience, right? They're turning they want to take this youth and turn it into the modern audience, to where in 15, 20 years, everything that we cringe at, they look at and they're like, oh, that's pretty normal, but I don't know if that really works.
I don't think it does either.
Yeah.
They don't really care. They don't want to see all this bullshit. Yeah?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the video game industry no matter what the ESRB wants to say about it being a 50-50 male to female hobby, like we all know that's a bunch of crap, right? But at the end of the day, dudes like boobs, dudes like guns, dudes like swift kicks to the nuts, and like if you just present them with a product that has those three things and maybe a flying eagle for America, your game's probably going to be pretty successful. So it's amazing to see how things have shifted. They
had that study too that that female players also want to play characters that are attractive, which is I mean, obviously.
It's human nature.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you go back all the way to the early 90s, and you have characters that go like Street Fighter 2. You had Ryu, big burly dude. He's got a gi on, but he's got a big old chest, right? You got Zangief, who's manly, got bear scars on him. Then you got Chun-Li with these big old thick thighs, and she's got big old boobs. And like Cammy, who's she's got a big old thong, and like the whole idea was look at her butt. Like, sex sells. That's like the number one rule of advertising. And it seems like the video game industry in particular has just totally, I say totally forgotten that, because that's not necessarily the case, because you see games like Stellar Blade that have just been crazy because they leaned into it. They leaned into this idea that sex sells, and they have these characters that are sexy, but then you have games like Dragon Age Veilguard, and you're like, what is that I'm playing as right now? Or who is that character? Is that a she, a he, or are they, them? And you truly have no idea. So
you know what I think it is, actually? I think basically your average gamer wants to play a hero. They want to play someone that's not them, somebody that is kind of a super idealistic version of like what they want to be. Whereas a lot of like these developers that kind of create these games, they just want to play themselves. And I think it's like a sort of like weird, like narcissistic thing that they have going on, where that's what they want, is I want to play as me in the game. But like, we play, like, I play those games because I want to play something fantastical, and that's why you have like the super sexy, like girls, you have the super ripped guys, because guys want to play like that fantasy version of like what they wish they could be, right? And that's kind of what games are. It's a fantasy, right?
Golly, you are preaching right now. The self-insert, and you said it here, man, the narcissism of some of these developers who it's all about me. It's all about me, and I want to play as me, and you should play as me. Like, oh my gosh.
In some cases, it's literal, because there have been cases where like the characters literally do look like the developers, right? That's wild.
Man, preach, Leaflet. That is insane. Hey, YouTube suggested that you should watch this video too, so you should probably do it.